Hello friends, as promised, today's video is a Q&A kind of work with me video. So it's about 12:30 right now. So this morning I dropped off a bin at Once Upon a Child. And then I went over to Starbucks, got 5 more listings up. I needed 5 more to hit my 100 goal for the week. So I did do 100 listings this week. And then I went to my therapy appointment. And now I'm just back here sitting in the Once Upon a Child parking lot. They should be done any minute. So let's answer a few questions until they text me. First question I saw said, do I sell on any platforms besides eBay, Poshmark, and whatnot? And as far as whatnot, I don't actually sell on it. I'm only a buyer for right now. I don't know if I'll ever sell on whatnot. Probably not. And then, yes, so I sell on eBay, Poshmark. I have done Kitizen in the past until it shut down. I've done Mercari. I have my Mercari on vacation mode, and I just keep extending the vacation mode. I don't know if I'll turn it back on at any point. I kept cross-posting to there, and I'd only make 1 or 2 sales a month, honestly, and it just seemed like it wasn't worth it. So, but that was probably several months, almost a year ago, that I've turned it on vacation mode. So let me know how you guys are doing on Mercari. Do you think it's worth me turning back on? You know, I already use this perfectly. So if I do turn it back on, I'm just going to delete everything that I had listed there, because there's no way I've kept up on deleting everything that sold as it was selling. So yeah, I would start fresh and just go straight from list perfectly and put my items on there. So let me know your experience on Mercari. I also used to sell on Facebook Marketplace, but stopped that a while back. Other than some larger items we will list locally. In fact, my husband just listed a stroller that I found from the bins a week or 2 ago. I found it for $15 at the bins. He sold it for $175. So it's, I think Facebook is a great platform for stuff like that. This next question says they notice I pick up a lot of different kinds of items, and what qualifies as something for me to pick up? Is it just sell-through rate? And honestly, no. I don't know if I could even explain this, but the way I resell, I think, is so different than most people. So I do care about sell-through rate if I'm like paying a lot for the item. So like if I go into a Goodwill and I'm paying say $20 for a pair of shoes, I want that sell-through rate to be close to 100%, hopefully even more. But if I'm buying something at the bins, you guys know the way that I like to do my bins hauls is go get a bunch of stuff, usually go to the buy sell trade stores the next couple days after that, and then recoup the money I spent on the huge haul, and then just list everything else on eBay, Poshmark. And so at that point, basically everything that I'm selling online, I would consider as profit. And so that way, even when I'm selling stuff for $10, $15, it's still profit. And so I just pick up things at the bins that I think will sell at all. I definitely do not check comps on most things I'm buying at the bins. I don't really care about sell-through rate if I'm buying it from the bins. I consider myself like a high volume seller. So I have around 2,000 active listings right now. And so yeah, I just list and try to sell, you know, I want to sell about 20 a day. Right now I'm selling about 15 a day. So yeah, that's kind of how I do my thought process. I just saw the text that Once Upon a Child is done with my buy. So let me answer one more, then I'll run in here, get my money, my passes, and I'll show you what they passed on. So this question is in reference to one of my recent reels where I did a quick little mini what sold and did a profit breakdown at the end. And they were just wondering if I thought that that was a good amount of profit for myself for the day. And I believe on this particular video, I made $270 profit in about 24 hours. So yes, I definitely think that was good for me. Let me know what you guys, do you guys have an average amount per day that you're trying to make? I don't always share numbers, but my current goal is to make $200 net profit per day from reselling alone. I used to have this huge goal to make $100K profit just as a reseller only by myself. But I realized if I'm going to keep doing content, there's no way I'm probably ever going to hit that and still have time to do the content. And since I do get paid some for the content, I kind of feel like it offsets, you know, the difference. So I am thrilled to make $274 profit in a day from reselling alone. But yeah, let me know what you guys, do you have a certain dollar amount? I would love to hear it. That went well. They only passed on 2 items. So these little Carter baby crib shoes, they've passed on twice now. I'm seeing some cracking right here, so that's probably why. So I'm going to just add these to my consignment bin. And then this I just kind of threw in thinking they wouldn't buy it. So since they didn't buy it, I'm going to just also put that in the consignment bin. And then I did buy one thing. Oh, they gave me $116.71, I believe. I'll put the receipt here for 60 items. So I did not weigh the bin today. It was all bins items. Every time I have weighed the bin, it's minimum $1 profit per piece. So you can assume about $60 profit. But again, I like to assume that I'm just kind of putting that 116 back as my bin's cost of goods to begin with. All right, and then what I purchased were these Crocs Chewbacca they were priced at $11, but I had a $10 off coupon on my account. So I just paid $1 out of pocket on those, which is awesome. I'm gonna list these probably about $29.95 plus shipping. Next thing on my to-do list for today is go to the bin. So let's head on over there. Hello again. It's about 4:30 now, which means we are on break at the bins. So I'm going to stay here until probably about 6, and then I have a birthday dinner to go to for a friend. But for now, I'm just in my car. I walked over to the gas station to get a Diet Coke, having my little protein chomp snack. So I will answer a couple more questions, and then I'll head back into the bins for my last hour here. So far it hasn't been great today, so hopefully this next hour is okay, but that's all right. I did not need any inventory today. This was more like a fun day for me because I've been working so hard at home all week. First question I saw was, do I ship any of my shoes in poly mailers? And yes, actually lately I've been doing a lot more shoes in poly mailers just because that's what I have on hand. But it just kind of depends on the situation of the sale. Anything that sells on Poshmark, I'm more likely to use a box since they're free from the post office. But like if they're a lightweight shoe or small, I do still use like a padded flat rate for Poshmark. And then on eBay, if I have a box laying around, I'll use it. Like I use the recycled Amazon boxes, but we don't get a ton of those. So if I have one, I'll use it. And I do use my quarterly coupon usually on boxes, but that only gets me maybe like 50 boxes. So I try to save those kind of for more of the higher dollar shoes or shoes that I feel like need more protection than a poly mailer. But for the most part, most of my shoes go in a poly mailer. I can't say I've had any complaints recently. I might have had one way in the past, but not enough to stop doing it. So yes, I do use poly mailers to ship shoes. I'm gonna do one more question and then head back into the bins. So this one says, how do I have my labels printed if I have not already pulled the item out of the box? Like, how do I know how much it weighs to ship it? And do I pre-weigh the items? So yes, I do pre-weigh them as I'm inventorying them. So right before I put them in the box, I put them on the scale. And then I was storing all that information in our spreadsheet. So I've been using the spreadsheet only lately for the inventory location and the weight of the item. But we're in the process of switching everything off of the spreadsheet completely and into List Perfectly. So actually Chris is home working on that today while I'm out and about. So I think we're more than halfway through, which is great. So once he gets all the way through all the boxes, I will no longer be using the spreadsheet at all and only using List Perfectly for basically everything, which I'm really excited about. But yes, so weighing all the items before I put them into the boxes so that once I go to print the label, I can just know how much it weighs. And also I get the question often, like, how do I know what size to put in the dimensions? And I know as I'm going to print the label, if I'm going to put it in a poly mailer or a box, and I basically know all my box and poly mailer sizes. So if it is a random size, I will quickly go find a box and measure it. But for the most part, I have like 3 or 4 different things that I'm putting everything in. So that is how I know about that. So I went to my friend Becca's birthday dinner. We went to Red Robin. It was a really nice time, just a lot of chatting and laughing. But I am back home now. Let me show you my bins haul. That last hour definitely did not get better. In fact, it probably was worse. I think all that I mostly found in that last hour was like stuff to take to Once Upon a Child. So not a complete waste, but yeah, it just is like that sometimes. So normally if I was like getting there and it was a bad day, I would just kind of leave. Like if I planned to stay there for a few hours and the first 2 hours were like not good, I would leave. But this day, since I was already going to this birthday dinner, I was close by to where I needed to be, so I just stayed. And I didn't have anything else on my agenda. I had already done all my listings for the week. Nothing was a pressing issue that I needed to get to, so I just stayed. And what I'm going to show you, I mean, what did I stay there for? Maybe like 3 or 4 hours. So kind of a lot. I would say what I'm going to show you probably pays for my time there, but probably just barely, because I also have to spend time listing it and taking the stuff to Once Upon a Child, stuff like that. So anyways, let me show you what I got, and then we'll end the video with just a few more questions. If I remember correctly, some of the questions I was reading, I did not answer in the beginning of the video because they were kind of like related to, I think, the inventory. So once we get to those, I can hopefully show you a close-up or better to answer those. All right, so I did I say it wasn't great, but I still spent $75.66, which is kind of a lot. But I got 37 pounds worth. They did let me use that $29 gift card, well, store credit that I got from doing a return at a regular Goodwill, so that's nice. So I only had to pay an additional $46. Here's the receipt for all that. So this bag I did separate out is the Once Upon a Child stuff, so let's go through that real quick. And I didn't count the pieces, but honestly this might get me back close to the 70-something dollars that I spent. Little Grinch sweatshirt. This is Land's End. Some shorts. Carter's little denim overall. There was a ton of shoes here this day. I got a few for Once Upon a Child. I might have got a few to sell on my own, but the last few times I've been, I've got like no shoes, so it was nice. I still didn't get a ton. Like, there was so many people grabbing for the shoes, and I just got the ones I could. But these are some kids' Uggs, so I'm gonna put those in there. These are little Cat and Jack shoes. Got some Nike sneakers. These shoes are kind of dirty. I'm gonna throw them in the washing machine. The Uggs, these. The Cat and Jack ones, I'm gonna just hand wipe those down. But like Crocs, I throw these in the washing machine. This is Athletic Works. This is just Amazon Essentials jacket. Got Carter's. Garanimals. This is Wonder Nation. This is Jordache. A couple more Carter's little footy fleece pajamas. Some Okie Dokie shorts. Laura Ashley. Got Gap little sweater. Carter's. This is Justice Girls Flannel. This is Dip. These are two Snow Zoo little fleeces, and yeah, they were new, like wrapped in, I think these are sold at like Sam's Club or something, but I don't know if you can tell on here. It seemed like it got some grass in them, so I just need to like lint roll these pretty well. But this is Kenzie Girl. Oops. Well, it was new a tag. I actually have a tagging gun from when I was doing consignment on my own, so I will just put that tag back on there before I take it. Adidas. Abercrombie. This is Wonder Nation. Got Children's Place. Wonder Nation. And cute little Carter's like knit poncho. So yeah, I will get on average probably about $1.75 per piece. So again, I did not count those, but that's probably a good amount back. But then I just got this bag and then one more IKEA size bag of things. I'm already seeing a lot of this stuff is just for personal use. So let's see. Yeah, these are just for Chris. He likes to put these on his little video game shelves. So those are for us. I'll probably just give this to the kids, the little anxiety plush from Inside Out. These are going to be for my son Connor, just a pair of Nike. I think that they're regular shorts, but they feel like swim trunks to me, so I showed him them though, and he likes those. I will list this just a maiden form, like a shapewear. This is probably $10 to $15, easy listing. Got a cabbie, like a wool blend jacket, so that's probably at least 20, maybe a little bit more come fall. This I just picked up because it was new. St. John's Bay. It's like a cable knit turtleneck sweater, so that's probably around 20 bucks. I love selling Cole Haan, especially men's shoes, so these should do pretty well. At least 30, I want to say, maybe a little bit more on those. Got some Greg Norman, just like a performance golf pant, new at tag. That's probably at least 20. I don't find this very often. It's a She Fit bra. So I've only sold one. It was new at tag though, but a way smaller size. And I think it went over 20, maybe close to 30. I can't remember. This one is, I don't understand their size chart. I need to look it up, but this says 3 luxe. But to me, this looks like a plus size kind of a bra. So I don't know. I want to say it's probably at least 20 bucks. I feel like She Fit's doing pretty well right now. This is Nike. I thought this was kind of a cool style. I'm assuming it's women's just based on the crop. And it has this on the back. It says ball for all. It's in very good condition. So, I don't know. The buy sell trade stores would probably buy this, but I might look up. I do like selling some Nike pieces on my own, so I might actually list that one. Got a pair of women's Crocs. These, I might just wash these and try them at the buy sell trades. I always see Crocs in there, so we'll see. If not, these are probably 20 bucks on my own. I bought these hoping that Plato's or Uptown would take them, but I think if they don't, I can probably get around 20. Carly Jean Los Angeles, so it seems like a cute style. It just says style is Jamie. So I don't know exactly what style it is, but it's definitely not like a skinny or anything. So I like them, and I like the line down the back here. So we'll see if they take those or not. I think I only got one plushie. I don't know. This one just felt really soft, and it was just kind of cute to me. So I did look it up. The brand is Mon Ami. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I think that I can probably get 15 to 20 for this. I think it's a fox. Let me know what you think. I got a few pieces to try on for myself. This is H&M blouse, and this is a Lucky Brand like plaid. So if these don't fit me, I'll list them, but probably like $10 to $15. And these need to throw in the wash, but they're just like a Keen, super lightweight, plasticky shoe. So perfect for this time of year. I think these are probably 20 to 30. Last bag. This is Cacique. I'm positive I'm saying that wrong. I'll never probably be saying it right. So just a pretty bra. Very good condition. This is probably 20 to 25. This was a decent pair of shoes. A little bit of beat up on the heels, but not terrible. They're Uggs. So regular old, like some of the like normal snow boot type Uggs haven't been doing well for me. I mean, I would definitely still pick them up at the bins, but these type of tall boots seem to do pretty well for me by the brand Uggs. So I think I can get like at least 50 for these, maybe a little bit more. I did get 2 North Face pieces to trade in, so just 2 hoodies. So that should get me $30 at the North Face. This is a Sonoma shirt I was just going to try on for our California trip. It says Sunshine State of Mind, so I thought it would be perfect for that. We'll see if that fits me. This is Mitchell and Ness. Like, you know, it's Grizzlies something, but I don't know exactly what team that was. But I think I can get at least 20 for these. This is a Pikachu robe for my son Connor. These are some Gap Kids corduroys. I was gonna give these to my son Cyrus, but if he doesn't want them, which it's not like he will want them, but he might need these for like church. So I'll probably put them in his drawer, but eventually they'll go to Once Upon a Child. Got a pair of Birkenstocks, so definitely have some toe marks, but the treads are still pretty decent. I mean, you guys, if you wear Birkenstocks, know that these probably honestly have not been worn that much. That's just what happens. So even in this condition, I usually still get like 30 bucks, so not too bad. I only bought this because it was new. It's Pioneer Woman, just like a pull-on Bermuda short with the floral embroidery, so hopefully 15 to 20. These are some Adriano Goldsmeed Tellus Modern Slim, so men's jeans. So I think I can get probably close to 30 for these. This I just got because it was new. It's Sonoma, so Kohl's brand, just like a men's pullover fleece. Maybe like 15 to 20 out of that. This is very cute. I think it's kid size because it's just so small. Yeah, it's got to be kid size. A little Polo Ralph Lauren, like a Madras plaid hat. This print of Polo Ralph Lauren does so well. I did not look up a comp for the kids hat. I'm gonna look it up, but I picked this up thinking I can at least take it to consignment and get a few dollars. But this might be worth me listing on my own. If I can get like 15 bucks, I'll probably list that on my own. All right, and then these I think I'm gonna just keep because they're a little bit, the brand is Vessi, so this is a great brand to look out for. Even with them dirty like this, I would still buy them to sell. These are machine washable, sort of like a Rothy. These are my size though, and I don't know if you can tell, the ankle looks a little bit crushed in on this one, but I tried it on, and once it's on my foot I cannot tell, so I'm gonna just wash these and like consider these my bin shoes, because I like to have just like a comfortable pair of shoes when I'm spending a few hours at the bins. These are very comfortable, and then I don't care if they're dirty or not. Like when the, you know, when you're at the bins you're gonna get dirty, so I'm fine with that. I have 4 more questions to end off the video with. So the first one says, when you launder shoes, do you just throw them in by themselves with other shoes or with towels? And then there's a part 2, but let me answer that. So yes, I usually just spray them with OxiClean, and then I have like a bin of old towels, clothes, just kind of like rag type stuff that I don't really care about, and then I'll just throw a few of those in with the shoes. And yeah, that's basically how I do it. I will say, I kind of showed you guys those Once Upon a Child shoes I said I'm going to wash. So those are all just kind of like rubbery or foam. I don't put like any leather shoes in the washing machine. You know, stuff like those Vessi shoes I will, because they're knit and those are like machine washable anyways. But yeah, so you just got to be careful which ones you're doing it with. And then I don't obviously put any in the dryer, so I just set them out to dry. I've been setting them on our porch recently. Sometimes I'll just leave them in my laundry room for a couple days, and then they will just dry on their own. Next part says, also, did you guys do a how-to cleaning shoes video a while ago? Yes. I don't know how long ago. It's probably been like 3 or 4 years. It was definitely in our old house, probably when we barely just started YouTube. So probably 3 to 4 years if you wanted to look back that far. But honestly, that was kind of, Chris did that video on his own, and I think he was just showing different ways you can clean them, but honestly, I don't clean shoes that way. I usually just try to buy shoes that I can either throw in the washing machine or that don't need much cleaning. And if some of them need cleaning, I usually don't clean them. I usually just sell them as is and say need some cleaning. So yeah. And then they're asking if any of my methods or products that we've used have changed. So yeah, personally, I don't know what all products he used in that one, but if I were to just like scrub some shoes in the sink, I would probably just use like a little brush and maybe some Dawn dish soap. I don't even know what I would do. So, you know, we've also used a magic eraser in the past to kind of clean up the white midsoles, but now I usually just use some Goof Off whenever I'm getting the numbers off the bottom, and that does the trick for me. So really the only products I'm currently using are the Goof Off and yeah, just OxiClean if I'm throwing them in the washing machine. And then one more question. When you're listing, do you look up solds on each and every item to help you decide on what you will price the item for? Sort of, yeah. Like so I will draft all my items in List Perfectly, type them all out, get them. If you've used List Perfectly, you kind of know you push the arrow button and it kind of just pops up all the listings to all the platforms that you want it to go to. And then once that's happening, I will just copy paste my title into eBay and then do just a quick, for the most part, I'm selling the same sort of stuff over and over again, but I just kind of want to get a quick more glance at like how many are listed and how many are sold, like a sell-through rate. That way I can determine if I want to price on the higher end or the lower end. And, usually if I have, say, an extra small piece, I want to price it on the lower end because there's usually an abundance of extra small listed. But if I have like an XL plus, sometimes there's not quite as many. If mine's new and everybody else's are used, I just try to get more of a gauge on like that type of stuff when I'm searching up a comp. But yeah, I usually do it on most everything as I'm doing my listing. I'd like to get out of doing that though, because it does take a little bit of time and, time is money. So even if you sell the item for a few dollars less, but you didn't spend that time and you could have spent the time on something else that can make you more money. I don't know. That's kind of how my mind works. So it's something I want to work on. But yeah, currently I do copy paste my title, post it into eBay, sort to sold, and see what's happening. All right. And then this question says, when you started your boxes, so these, did you start with A to Z, then expand from there? Also, so let's start with that. Yes, although I'm sure we probably had more than one alphabet worth, just even when we first started it, because the way I was doing my inventory before Chris kind of stepped in, and I think Chris was just like thinking the way I did it was ridiculous, which it is when I think back to it. But once I do something, I'm not going to change it. I don't know. That's how I am. But Chris is always trying to think of ways to make improvements and like make me do it better and faster. So anyways, he kind of took that under his wing as his project, and I'm thankful for that. But yeah, I probably had 1,000 listings already at this point. So I'm sure that we had more than just A through Z to begin with. And a lot of times people will ask, why are they letters and not numbers? Because originally it was going to be A, and then the plastics inside would be numbered. But we quickly realized we didn't really need to number them because, each box fits anywhere from like 10 to 30 items, just depending on how big they are. And I never really plan to have anybody help me. Still, like I don't think I really want any help, definitely with shipping and stuff like that. So I'm saying people help me. I'm mainly talking about shipping. You guys know I've had a helper over the last year, although I currently don't. But anyways, once we realized that I could just peek in here and see what it was, it didn't seem necessary to number all the bags. So if we were redoing it, we would do numbers. If we ever do the shed, we will probably change all the boxes to numbers. But for now, that is why we have the letters. Okay. Also, when you do restock the items, when do you restock items that are somewhat empty? So that's basically as soon as I've photographed and listed an item, I'll put it away. So I mentioned my helper. So she has a summer job, and so she's not helping me currently. But when she was helping me, so she would come photograph and then take the items home with her, bag them up, and I'd get them back like the next week. So basically my 100 items for the week I would get back, and I would already have them all drafted, so I could just spend an hour down here and put them all away. Right now, since I'm kind of doing it all on my own, I'm doing my normal amount, 15 to 25 or so per day. So I'll just bag them up as I'm doing it, and then I'll come down and put them away, which obviously doesn't take an hour. It just takes maybe like 10, 15 minutes. But what I do is I'll put my laptop here, open up my list perfectly, because we're getting off the spreadsheet. So any of the new stuff I'm putting into the inventory is going straight to list perfectly. It's not going in the spreadsheet at all. So then I will just come find a box. I can probably fit 1 or 2 items in EV there. So I would just put what I can, come back to list perfectly, type in EV, save. So, yeah, that's how I'm doing it currently. Let me make sure I answered that correctly. When do you restock the items into boxes? So basically, anytime I have any new listed items, I will put them away as soon as I can, just so that I don't get overwhelmed. This little side corner here is my stuff that's kind of drafted but not listed yet. And I don't like putting it away until I've listed it, because then I might put it away and then never list it. I don't know. My brain is weird. So anyways, those are getting pretty empty though. I'm doing pretty well at getting through those. Those items are just like okay items. So it's like nothing I'm super excited about. But if there's a day where I don't have time to photograph anything new, I will just pull some listings from there and get those listed and put away. Okay, next question says, can you show us the process from store to box? How do you package them and what's the storage system? How do you decide to list it on Posh or eBay? Yes. So, I kind of talk about this question from time to time, the process from store to box. And honestly, it changes from time to time. So if I've said it different in the past, this is what I'm currently doing. And that goes for everything. Like sometimes I'm so worried that you guys are going to think I'm just making it up or lying, but really I do change the way I do things. However it feels right that day is how I'm going to do it. And when I was having a helper, I would do it slightly differently, because we're working on 100 items at a time versus when I'm doing it on my own, I'm just doing a little bit at a time. So can you show us the process from store to box? I'm trying to think like these items here. So yeah. Obviously, if I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would not be showing them on a bin haul. But let's say I just showed you them all in a bin haul. So now I have my bin here of stuff. I'm going to take that up to my office, get it all hung up onto my rolling rack. In a perfect world, I would then, like the next day, hopefully just get those items photographed, measured, and bagged up and brought down here. But that's just not how life works for me. There's just always a million moving parts in this business for me. So those might stay on my rack for a week or even a month sometimes, but usually every day or two I'll at least go photograph some and do that, and then sometimes I'll wait till I have a full rack full, which is probably about 100 items, and then I'll just try to power through that in a couple hours. So yeah, so basically bring it in the house, hang it up on the rack. If it's shoes, I'll just put them in a bin until I have like a bin full, and then I'll do those all at once. And then so photograph, see, and then at some point I was just doing the measurements at a complete different time, but this last week or two I've been trying to do photograph, measurement, bag. I feel like that's going to be the way I'm going to have to do it going forward, especially if I'm not having any helpers or anything, because otherwise I just get overwhelmed because there starts to be piles everywhere. And even though like the piles are good, that means I'm getting work done. It means I have a lot of listings that I can do. I keep thinking it's more work than it actually is. So it's been working out well this week to do about 20 at a time and all the way through. So basically photograph, measure, put them in a bag, bring them down here. I don't, like I said, like to put them away until I've listed them. So I usually get those 20 listed and then put them away. So I think that's the full process for me. And then they just stay in the box until they sell. So, and then after they sell, I'll pull them out. You'll see them in a what's sold video probably, and then ship them off. So yeah, I think that's about it for my process. How do you package them and what's the storage system? I'm assuming you're meaning like these plastics. So these are just cellophane bags I get from Amazon. We should have some links in the description if you want the exact kind that I use. It's possible if you click the link, it's an old link and they don't have that exact one anymore, but they do have the same ones. It might just be a new link. So if it's not working, let me know. Just write a comment and I will send you the exact link straight back to your comment. But yeah, so I put them in these cellophane bags. A lot of people will ask, do I ship them in these or do I like then reuse the cellophane bags? I do ship them in these. I think it's a nice presentation. So once I take this upstairs, I'll put a thank you sticker right here, just slide it into a poly mailer. Then imagine when you're opening your package, you're like, oh, that's a nicely folded thing. So I just like it for that reason. I also do this because we've had dogs and then now we have a cat. So I feel like once I put them in here, it kind of like keeps them fresh until they go to their new home. There's no hairs floating around getting onto them, stuff like that. And there's been so many times where I buy things online and then the outer package is ripped to where like if it was a piece of clothing or something, that would probably also be ripped or maybe got, some dirt on it just from being in the postal truck or the post office. So it's just like an added layer of protection. It's definitely not necessary, but yeah, it's just a personal preference. So that's what I like to do for mine. And then if you're meaning packaging as far as like boxes or poly mailers, I'm always plugging Shipping Hip. I love their mailers. Yes, I get a kickback when you use our code, which is Ginger15. But I truly love their mailers. And I just, the mom that runs it, you know, I've known her since kiddizen days, and I remember being part of the Kickstarter for Shipping Hip, like where she had to get so many people to donate, or no, not donate because we got something for our money, but like she had to get so many people to like give $15 so that she could buy the poly mailers, the first, I don't know what it's called, big bulk purchase of them. And so, yeah, and then we all got like 100 mailers for the $15. This was like so many years ago, probably like 8+ years ago. And so I just really love the company. And ever since, you know, every few months she's coming out with new prints. And I love that all the prints are just artists' work that she finds on Instagram and stuff like that. So it's just really a cool little small business. So I like to support that more than just like buying some plain old poly mailers from Amazon. Otherwise I use recycled Amazon boxes or some eBay boxes or eBay mailers that I get with my quarterly store coupons when you have an eBay store. As far as how do I decide to list it on Posh or eBay, I don't really decide. I just list it to both so that I don't have to decide. That's what List Perfectly is handy for. So yeah, right off the bat, it goes to both of them. I was, you know, previously doing Mercari as well. List Perfectly pretty much has every platform, so the more you want to put it on, the more you can put it on. But yeah, I'm happy with just eBay and Posh right now. That makes me enough money for what I need, and it doesn't get me too overwhelmed. So yeah, I just don't decide. All right, and then this last question says, can you do a video or explain in your next Q&A how you stock take your inventory? So I'm not gonna lie, I had to Google what stock take means. And I'm still not sure that I'm completely understanding it. So I will explain what I think you mean, and then I will answer it in the way that I think that you mean. To me, like, stock take is like, you know, if you work at a grocery store, there's like, say, a whole bunch of Cheerios on the shelf and you're seeing how many is left and how many you need to put more on the shelf. But like in my business, almost everything is a one-off item. So I don't know that we stock take in that way. But what I've been mentioning that Chris is helping me do right now is he's just grabbing one box at a time off the shelf. And how I said that we want to switch from List Perfectly, from my spreadsheet. We have a free spreadsheet download, so a lot of you guys already use that. We used it for many years. Then we got a bookkeeper, so we no longer really need to keep item by item track for our tax purposes. The bookkeeper does that all for us. So the spreadsheet is just almost an extra step at this point that seems unnecessary for me personally. So he is going through each box, making sure that the item is still in the box if it's listed on the platform, and then he's putting the box location as well as the weight of the item, which the weight of the item was already also stored in the spreadsheet. So he's just transferring the information to List Perfectly and saving it over there. And then if there's anything extra in the box at this time that's like not listed for whatever reason, he's pulling it out so that I can figure that out, why it's not listed, or get it rephotographed or whatever I need to do. And I think that's it. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's what he's doing as far as stock taking. So that by the end of getting through all the boxes, I think he's about halfway through right now. We should be good to go with List Perfectly. I want to turn on my auto delist. Right now, I'm currently just manually delisting everything whenever it sells on one platform or another, which I've been doing that for 8 years now. So my brain's already kind of trained to do it. So even if I turn on auto delist, I'm probably going to double check every time, but it'll be nice to just have that. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully that answers your question. If I didn't answer it right, or if you have a more specific question about that, please let me know in the comments. I do think that's all I have for us today though, guys. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully I will be catching up with you guys soon. Bye, friends.